Gables location. That is right, I'm out of the house. I've secluded myself in the Seven Gables house, and I'm so excited to be doing coffee with the Port St. Lucie Mayor yet again, able to do it via Facebook Live. We got a lot of interaction last time, and a lot of people requested we do that again. So back by popular demand is a live stream of Coffee with the Port St. Lucie Mayor. Of course, we'll be joined by him very, very shortly, but we're going to start the show today with our sponsors. And this entire year and all of last year, we're so happy to have them in this partnership for Coffee with the Port St. Lucie Mayor. It's Mid-Florida Credit Union. Please welcome our old friend, one of my board members, one of my ambassadors, and just one of my favorite people in the whole world, Shrita Walker. Hi, Shrita. Say hi to everybody.
Good morning. Hi, Teresa. Thank you. You're so nice. You're so kind. That was a great introduction.
Aw, well, I miss you terribly. I feel like I'm so cut off from the world, and Shrita is one of my favorite people that I haven't been able to see for a while. She also brought a special guest today. Please welcome to the show Michael Sheets from Mid-Florida Credit Union.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. We wanted to talk today. Mid-Florida Credit Union's been our partner in this for so long, and everybody is so aware. And I just want to reiterate that they're a small local credit union. They started in Lakeland, Florida, out of a shoebox. They are a nonprofit, as all credit unions are, and they have just ingratiated themselves into our community. And hopefully we'll all be back at the Mid-Florida Event Center on US 1. To gather again. I know we will, and I'm super excited about it. But we brought Michael Sheets in today to talk a little bit about PPPs, payroll protection. This is something that people are talking about everywhere. People are going through it. It is saving businesses. It is helping businesses. It's frustrating businesses. It's all of the above, right, Michael?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. There's been a lot of questions around their applications on how to fill them out. There really wasn't any type of instructions on how to fill them out. So we're seeing a lot of issues. And what we're trying to relay is, fill out have somebody help, call the bank and have them help. Because when you put it into the queue, you're going to get a call back if it's not filled out correctly. And they're just minor mistakes. If you don't know the calculations, you could go to the SBA and look up the calculations. But just make sure that you do all your initials, you're filling out everything properly, you're checking every box, because if you don't do that, luckily we are a smaller institution, so we're able to reach out to our clients and we're going back over the application and, we're really walking them through it. But at the larger institutions, no offense to them, they're overwhelmed. They're great banks, but, they're just overwhelmed. So they don't have the time to check it. So your application could be on hold just because you missed one initial or one checkbox, because the SBA is really requiring everything to be filled out properly. So I've been on a couple of calls like this, and I get a lot of questions on, the PPPs and why is it taking so long and things like that. But a lot of the times it's just not filled out properly. So There is still money in there. If you haven't filled out your application, please go in and fill out an application. Ask your banker. If you don't know the calculations, ask your banker, how to do the calculations, and just go back through it, double check it, make sure that everything is signed and dated and go from there. That's the biggest mistakes. That's where all the delays are, is reaching back out to these clients. And like I said, the bigger banks may not have the capacity to call out the client and say, hey, could you do this? And walk them through it. So it's very, 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 very important.
How many loans do you think that Mid-Florida has been tasked with? Because it is, everybody I know has applied for their PPP. And I would say if you are a business in St. Lucie County, please do apply for your PPP. I'm encouraging all of our members to do so. It does not hurt to apply. And there's a huge chance it could be forgiven. There's some regulation on that. But even if it's not, it's a 1% payback terms. So why wouldn't you is sort of my question. But how many people in our area, could you guess, is Mid-Florida trying to process through the PPP?
We've got, we're a $4 billion bank. Our commercial, and we're fairly new to Port St. Lucie. We've got 1,500 applications. We've made it through 1,200, and we're still plugging them in. We've got all hands on deck, from the branches to the commercial lenders to the HR. I mean, everybody is working on these because we really want to get everybody in because everybody out there needs help. So we've got all hands on deck. We've funded so far 69 million. And our average loan amount is a lot less. So when you see, the larger banks saying they funded 80, million, 100 million, some of those loans are $2-3 million loans, like you've seen on the news, where our average loan is on the smaller side. It would be from maybe 10 to 50,000 is our average loan because we deal with directly or simply small business clients. We don't really have large corporations that we're lending to. So that it's a good thing. We're really slamming them in. Like I said, we've got about 75 to 80%, and there's still people applying. So I don't know if we're ever going to get through these. It's been 2 months of, I think everybody, and Sharita can attest to this, I think 15-hour days. But they're estimating we've saved 9,201 jobs. I'm not quite sure where they got that number. That could not be exact, but that's where they're estimating it at, which is that's good for a community bank, or a small community bank. So.
And that's why we love you guys, is because you're a small community bank. And I, Shrita knows this. Shrita's my banker. I go to you for lots of things because I like the service. I like that you're a nonprofit, but I really like that you guys invest in our community. I mean, that is so important to me. And so, yeah, I'm a fan and I get it. And of course you're going to have lower loan averages in smaller companies because you're a smaller bank. But that's not a bad thing, is it, Shrita?
No, ma'am, it is not.
How are you today?
I just want to interject just a little bit because I think this is Michael's first time on with us. And so I want him to, tell a little bit about himself so that way the treasurer codes and the mayor and you get to know him a little bit better.
Yeah, that's true. This is Michael's first time. Tell us about you, Michael.
Okay. All right. Put me on the spot. Okay.
What's your position?
I've been a commercial lender for about 5 years now. I used to work at the large institutions with small business bank, from small businesses to corporations. And 5 years ago, I decided, hey, I wanted to move to a credit union. It's just, there's a lot of, nothing wrong with the bigger banks. It's just, you really don't have hands-on anymore. They're becoming just kind of a machine. So you really got to go through the clients, and you just don't have a lot of time to build relationships. You've got to move on to the next. And I had a friend working here, and he said, this is great. You really have a lot of client, you spend a lot of time with the client, really get to know them. So I decided to move. It's great. I love it. We're the largest commercial credit union lender in Florida. I can tell you, and the things that we did back in 2008 as well, and that's one of the reasons why I came over. In 2008, they did everything they could to help the businesses out. And I didn't say a stat here, but currently we have $168 million in forbearance for our business and commercial clients, and letting them just not pay for 90 days. So we're really helping them out. And this is the thing that we do. And that's one of the draws that, why I came over here. So we're still lending regularly. We do a lot of investment commercial. Our rates are crazy good. Our competition is, we don't have a lot of competition on the East Coast. It seems like it's been really fun. So that's kind of a little bit of my background. I've been through small banks. I've been through commercial, small business, everything, mid-Florida. And it sounds biased because I'm here, but is one of the better, and even the branches. I mean, and that's the thing is I'm normally a commercial lender, but every client that we have, when they go to the banks, it's just so hands-on. I don't get into the branches that much, but, I hear so much good feedback in the branches and how respondent they are to everything, and they go way out of your way. So it's just been great for me.
I can attest to that. I know most of your branch managers, and I love them all. And they've been on the show, and we've been able to forge relationships, and we've had people go through leadership, and it's just it's fantastic. And Shrita starts on my board, so we get it. We get why you moved over.
She's a worker. Sharita is great. She works hard. I see emails from her at 10 o'clock at night. So.
And we're not the only board she serves on. I wish I could say that, but I know that's not true. I know we're involved with a lot. So we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Rita, do you want to tell us anything else before we head over to talk to the mayor?
Yeah, so a question that we've been asking or getting asked, obviously, is when are we opening back up? So we're supposed to open back up on the 18th, full service. People can continue to walk into the branch. We will not be doing our popcorn on Fridays, even when we open right now, or, any candy or anything like that. But we're looking forward to opening back up. We will have some security, some safety measures in place, so that way it keeps our staff safe as well as members. And we're just looking forward to opening back up and welcoming everybody back.
We look forward to that too. I do want you to be safe. It's I'm at our Seven Gables house. It's our visitor center, and it's in Fort Pierce, in downtown Fort Pierce. It's closed because it's very scary to have people walking in all the time, all day. And I'm watching the news, and some are masked people, and some do not want to be masked people. And so you have to deal with that as well. And we're trying to figure that all out, and we're navigating that with the city of Fort Pierce. But we're anxious to get back open too and get people back to work.
Yes. And I want to thank Michael for coming on and the kind words. I mean, it's definitely been a pleasure getting to know you and working with you on Treasure Coast and introducing you. So it's a great partnership.
How long has Michael been with you?
I'm sorry?
How long have you been with Mid-Florida, actually?
A year and a half.
Oh, very nice.
A year and a half, yeah. I just started working with Sharita. I've got assigned to her about 4 months ago. I've worked the Brevard area a lot, not so much down a little farther than Vera, but I enjoy it. I love Point. That community is just blowing up out there. I love it out there. So you guys are doing a great job down there. I'm based in Orlando, but like I said, mostly cover the Brevard East Coast. But that area, the Port St. Lucie area, is just blowing up. I love it out there. I really, truly do. You guys are doing a great job.
Welcome to the community. We're happy to have it. All right, Sharita. Well, I hope to see you soon.
Yes.
We really do. We're going to try to figure something out in a safe manner. Probably not while we're still at 10 and under gatherings, but someday I will see people again in the flesh. And I look forward to it so very, very much. But thanks again. Thank you to everything you guys do here. Mid-Florida has just been really.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. It's nice to see you. Nice to be able to chat with you.
No, anytime.
All right, we're going to take a break, and I don't know if we take breaks, and I don't know if Gus told me. I forgot because we're Facebook Living, but we're going to visit with the mayor. I want to thank you both for being with us today. Have a great day.
You too.
You too. Bye.
I am Trissa, that's right. This time we're really, really back. Thank you for staying with us through that extended break. We had a bit of technical difficulties, which I'm sure if you've been watching anything on Facebook Live or Zoom, you're quite used to by now. Anyway, I want to welcome, of course, we've had him standing by. He's ready to go. Please, everybody, we are now joined by the mayor of the beautiful city of Port St. Lucie, the Honorable Gregory Orvac. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Trissa.
How are you?
Well, I miss you and I miss our audience. It's lonely here in the chambers.
I know you can let 10 in. Or is there a 10 in there?
No, we didn't invite anyone in because we knew that we were still distancing and that you would be. I guess today you're actually in the chamber office, though. It was nice to see you in your office with all your pamphlets and information in the background.
I'm actually in our Seven Gables house in Fort Pierce. I got a warehouse full of goods that we're trying to absorb in our community. I have somebody meeting me there, so I had to come up to Fort Pierce, but I'm in our Seven Gables house. I have been going to the office. That's two whole places for me going out. My office and now Seven Gables house.
So Trissa, let me ask you, how come you're not at your City of Port St. Lucie location?
My City of Port St. Lucie location, because it's not ready for me yet. Oh.
How convenient that you threw your phone away when I asked you that question.
This is so fun. Well, I had to get off my computer because the internet connection wasn't fast enough. Now I'm on my phone and I just watched it twirl around for everybody at home. Our Seven Gables office is going to be in the Met Stadium. We're going to have a visitor center there. It's not quite ready yet, so we're working on it.
Oh, so you do.
So we'll have 3 offices coming very, very soon. I also wanted to get Mervis Cafe Con Leche because that is our small business big challenge restaurant this week.
Okay, what is it again?
Our small business big challenge. It's where we partnered with the Children's Services Council and we designate a restaurant every Friday, and when people go there to get their takeout, Sean, the Children's Services is kind enough to match receipts up to $1,000 to give to a nonprofit. And today that restaurant was Mervis. But we've had a lot of great success with that. We have actually seen people triple, quadruple their receipts. So it's very exciting. It's very exciting. We're happy to be doing it. And the restaurants seem very thankful, and that's really important to me. Excellent.
And where is that restaurant?
Mervis Cafe is on 5th in between Orange and Delaware and in Fort Pierce, sort of by Forbes Cleaners. We try to alternate between a Fort Pierce and a Port St. Lucie restaurant every week. Next week it'll be Very Fresh in St. Lucie West.
Excellent, excellent. That is a great program. We appreciate you doing that for the community. Is
yes,
Sean
and
Boyle?
I appreciate Sean picking up my coffee.
Is Sean Boyle on?
I'm sure of it. If I had to guess, if you're looking at the Facebook, I'm sure that his comments are there. I actually need to go to Facebook so I can do that as well. That's my fault. I typically do so I can help monitor the questions via Facebook. So let me get over there. But yes, he dropped me some coffee from our partner restaurant and he headed into his office. So.
All right, excellent. I wonder if he's still cutting his own hair and then stalking me and looking through my window.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but I do know that he's still stalking you.
All right,
he said you got curtains.
What is on your agenda this week? What do you have going on? I saw a really great email from you last night about all the things the chamber is doing for the people of St. Lucie County. So do you want to share any of that?
Well, I told you about Small Business Big Challenge. I told you about the warehouse that I was able, it was Bahamian relief products that they can no longer get to the Bahamas. So I had negotiated, I knew him from somebody that knew him and negotiated getting those products absorbed in our community. So we have given out over 25 pallets of supplies. And this is everything from tents to medical supplies to food to kids' toys. All brand new. We got it all from him and we are absorbing it here. Big Brothers, PACE, St. Lucie Habitat, Care Bag, all recipients of these pallets. So we've been working on that, and that's why I'm here in Seven Gables. I've got to meet them over there again at 10. And we offered masks to our members. We can give them all 10 free masks. And I had mentioned to you that I underestimated the need. We literally got requests for probably close to 500,000 masks, which we obviously do not have. However, I have found a couple of people I can work with, and we'll be able to offer those masks at cost to people that need them. What we're finding is that masks are hard to get here. Even if you can find them on the internet for cheaper, you may not see them until August or September is what we're finding out. People place orders and then their shipment gets pushed back. I have found masks that are actually here in town. One of them is out of town, but in Florida. And I am going to pass those on at cost to people who need them in the community. So we're working on that. We're going to do our fishing frenzy in a really unique way. It's going to be a drive-by fishing frenzy and weigh your own fish, but do it in front of us at social distancing. So I'm excited about that as well. And golf tournament. I can't tell you how many people told me they wanted to golf and they need something to occupy their time. And they have 66 carts at Gator Trace, and we're going to use all 66 of them and go out in a golf tournament, which is going to be fun. And I'm going to kick it off and communicate with them via Zoom. So they'll be sitting in their carts as I welcome them on their phones. So we're going to be doing that. We've been staying busy, and it's been nice. It's been nice to be busy and trying to find new and different ways to help our partners, our businesses, it's been great.
But
thank you for asking.
Is your golf tournament sold out then? It's already sold out? Yours full?
It's not sold out. It's not sold out because we just decided, we were just able to secure it yesterday, Thursday. So it's not sold out, but half of it is. But we are definitely going to have more. So yes, it's not sold out.
So how
the
do people out there,
gone.
How do people sign up or learn more about your tournaments?
Sure. They could go to our Facebook page, as many people do, or they could go to stluciechamber.org. It's stluciechamber.org, and there's information and an RSVP right there for you if you want to join us. We're still going to have prizes and trophies and things, but they'll be completely sanitized before we hand them to you, before you pick them up off the table.
It's funny because your audio is not synced with your lips, so I kind of feel like that we are in a kung fu movie, and someone is going to do a flying leap kick right over your head any second.
Well, this is sort of just a hot mess of trying to make it work. I couldn't find the Wi-Fi password for Seven Gables, so I had to use my hotspot on my phone, and I'm looking at it on my laptop, which wasn't fast enough, but filming it on my phone. So the fact that you can see me at all is slightly miraculous at this point.
Adapt, improvise, overcome. That's how it's done. All right.
I can't see you now because I'm still trying to get to Facebook. But I remember on Facebook too, if you're watching on Facebook, it's a delay. It's definitely a delay. So that's something in and of itself. What's going on with you?
Well, let's get an easy one out of the way. We've been talking about the census on many coffees with the mayor. We've been talking about it throughout the community leaders. Obviously, the Census Bureau is talking about it. We've had really good return rate in the city of Port St. Lucie, but we want to get a full response if we can. And we've tried to combine a couple opportunities. So on one hand, we know that the census needs to get done. On another, we know a lot of people could use a $25 gift card. So we've done a promotion to encourage people to complete their census. And I think we're doing a weekly drawing, and we're giving away 4 $25 gift cards. Is that right, Sarah Prohaska? So we're up to 4 now. And if you don't win in a given week, you're automatically re-entered. And we're going to do this all the way through October. Sarah?
Yes, through October 1st.
Through October 1st. So if you haven't completed your census, please do. Of course, I put it on my Facebook page, and everyone's like, Mayor, we already knocked it out. We're good. We're done. But I know that there's still 40% of the pizzle out there that needs to get that U.S. Census done.
And then people who have done it already.
So in other words, don't let me know that you're done. Just make sure you go do it, because I get that too. We constantly are trying to remind people. I remind them that there's no recourse for filling this out. Nobody gets this information for 70 years. That's nobody. No police, no immigration. Nobody gets this information. There's no reason not to fill this out. There's no recourse of filling it out, except for the fact that we lose about $1,500 in federally funded.
Yeah, there's a big recourse in the loss to the community, but not personally. No one's going to get up in Teresa Aronson's business via the U.S. Census while she's still, around and kicking. So yeah. The only one you hurt by not completing the census is everybody else in your community. So please fill out your U.S. Census questionnaire. It's really quick and easy. We did ours a couple of weeks ago, and it's less than 10 minutes. Easy peasy.
It's way less than that. I did mine probably the first week too. It is very important, and that was one of the reasons why we did a special restaurant in North Fort Pierce. We are trying to hit the areas that are underreporting. Port St. Lucie is doing pretty well, on average, but we would like to see 100%. That's always the goal.
It is. So that's a nice and easy one. I think a program the city's working on, you've seen St. Lucie County do it, you've seen Fort Pierce do it. It's going to come to the city council on Monday night. That's a rental assistance program.
Yes.
And, I think that's an excellent program. It's a needed program. I wish we had more money. We have up to $1 million. Some of it's coming from our affordable housing fund, and that fund is funded by developers that pay a fee for affordable housing, goes into that fund, and then the other pot of money that we can bring to bear is a CDBG, a Community Development Block Grant. That's a federal source of money, and it was specifically allocated for COVID-19. So we're using those two pots of money. Together, they're up to $1 million. We're going to try to make that available for rental assistance and mortgage assistance. There's going to be some additional discussion to see if there's any way to work business into that pot of money. But again, it's only about $1 million, and it'll be made available to people who have a total loss of income first. That's who, we're trying, because there's not enough money for all the need out there, you try to focus it where it's needed most. And that seems to be the spot. And as you know, Trissa, the federal government has rolled out PPP, and it's not perfect, but at least it's there. They've also made forbearance and deferrals available through federally backed mortgages. So if your mortgage is held with Fannie or Freddie, you can get a forbearance. So really, we like to help the people who have been left out in the cold, if you will. And so if you have a private lender or you're a renter, there's really no programs available to help you. And that's why we're trying to gear this program towards that population and trying to estimate how many people there are in need out there. We looked at some of our utility billing, and there's 12,000 and change renters out there, households. And then so if you just apply a percentage, either the jobless percentage or the percentage of people who have a loss of income, that's a pretty big number. It's probably between 2,400 and 4,800 households. So that's a lot of people that need help. Even if we went with the full million, we'd be able to help about 330 or so families, but that's a lot better than 0 families. So that's what we're looking at, and that's a really big push, and it's really needed.
It is. It's scary, and it's very nice that utility companies have said no shutoffs, and nobody can get evicted because they haven't paid their rent or mortgage, but they are going to be expected to make that up at some time. And that's going to be a huge burden for so many people that are without work. And I think we're at almost 8% here, which is very, very high, very, very high.
And that's just where the statistics are at this time. Mm-hmm. You know, you probably think that your true is 13, 15 and climbing. So we just had the latest round of numbers come out from the federal government, and that'll trickle down. But it's a historic level of unemployment. And to your point, I think the governor's executive order on stopping evictions, postponing evictions and foreclosures ends around May 17th. Mm-hmm. So what happens then?
So you have to make up all that money.
Yeah, I don't know anyone that can make 4 rent or mortgage payments in a month. Not any regular people can do that. And so even if you have a Fannie or Freddie backed mortgage, it's really, I encourage everyone to seek that forbearance and put it at the end of the loan. Don't take the option where 4 payments become due in the 4th month there after the deferral ends. There's just, who can make a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 mortgage payment?
Yeah, and the same thing for small businesses. Rents are going to have to be paid, and we're very scared for many of our small businesses. We know how these sorts of crises affects them long term. It's very hard to dig out of, and so I wish there were more that we could do. Honestly, we're a nonprofit. We're not in much better shape than any of our partners and our members, but you become disheartened because you just can't do enough. You can't do enough to help, and you want to so very badly. And that's the worst part of this crisis for me.
It is, and I would just, I understand it's a terrible thing and it's hard. I would just encourage you though that every person that you help, pushes our community along, and encourage you and thank you for your hard work and everyone's hard work. I suppose that a doctor can't save everyone in the ER, but that doesn't stop him or her from trying. And it's the same thing here. I wish that we could do a rental assistance program that could help absolutely everybody. But since we can't do that, let's do the next best thing of helping as many people as we can. So
the masks for me were a good example of so many people wanted them in great quantities, and there was just no way we would be able to supply that for free. So even if we can get them to at a cost, it's better than nothing. But I would love to give them to for free. But there's just no way we can do it.
Go for it.
I can't see the questions. And here's my problem today, just so everybody knows, is so if Gus could help us or somebody could help us out with that. Because I'm using my phone and my laptop, if I click on the questions, I am going to end up with 2 sounds. Let's see if I can manage it. This is beyond my scope of services.
Our good friend Avi Monina will bring up the questions for you in a second.
Oh, I think I got it. I think I can mute. Can you hear me still? You can hear me?
Oh, I got you. We can hear you loud and clear in the chambers.
Okay, good. Okay, very good. All right. I am able to see the Facebook questions.
What do you want to see? Hold on 1 second.
I never logged into Facebook on this computer.
I could read them.
Oh, you have it? Oh, somebody's asking about an update on the Publix in St. Lucie West. I know who's working on that, so I know it's moving forward, but what do you know, Mayor? Anything?
Well, I just know that they're causing a ruckus. They are, the construction site is really ticking off all their neighbors. And I know that your friend Bradley Curry is in the midst of it all. And if Brad is watching, and he's probably not, but please share with him the message that we would love for him to continue his very best to make sure his client is a good neighbor. Because we have complaints of dust, of the contractor hitting their property wall, their buffer wall, rodents being displaced that lived in the wild area, the vegetated area between the grocery store and this neighboring property. So what I know is there is a ruckus and we need to be good neighbors.
I am aware of the ruckus, as I'm sure you know I am. If there's a complaint to be lodged, I often hear of it. But I can say that they're working to rectify it, and they do understand what happened there, and there was an issue, and they're going to get that all figured out. So all of our friends in St. Lucie West will be yet again happy, and that buffer will be back. But yes, I know there was a huge ruckus. The good news is it's still going forward. And also they will be making sure that those people are very happy with the results.
Well, that would be good. And let me just take this moment to digress onto a little pet peeve of mine. So in the city of Port St. Lucie, historically, we've been very developer friendly and development friendly, which is a fine thing. We are open for business, and that is definitely part of who we are as a community, and that is a good thing. At the same time, you know, I'm a big believer in rights. I'm a big believer in personal property rights and freedom, but it's not unlimited freedom. Like the saying that I've always loved is that my right to throw my fist ends where your nose begins, right? And so if we apply that to property rights and freedom, the rights of one person to enjoy his or her property ends where the rights of his or her neighbors' freedoms begin. So it's fine that you're going to develop your site pursuant to the code of ordinances and the laws, but you can't negatively impact your neighbor's right to enjoy their property. And so one of the things that I see every year when it gets dry, hot, and windy is development that wants to clear the whole area and develop the whole thing. There is a giant dust cloud and sandstorm from that site to all their neighbors. And all their neighbors have dirt all over their cars, their houses, their screen porches, and their pools. And that is against the code. So I'm hoping that we're going to do a better job coaching up all of our contractors and enforcing that code so that the property under development waters the soil. If you're gonna clear and what they call grub, if you're gonna clear and grub everything, please use proper erosion and dust control. And don't impose on your neighbors. Just be a good neighbor. Just apply the golden rule. Who wants to have to pressure wash their back porch and have to clean their pool because their neighbor wasn't thoughtful or courteous?
Well,
Brad Curry.
It was a mishap, and they're fixing it. And I know that they definitely want to make everybody happy, and they will. But I'm too a big, huge proponent of property rights, and so there's always sort of a give and take, because I think it is most people's mentality, even mine. You know, I don't want anything in my backyard either. That's how we all are. But the reality is there's rights to property all over the nation, and we have to abide by that and the zoning and all that kind of good stuff. So if it's allowed, I think it should be allowed. But yes, you still also have to be a good neighbor. I want to say Phil Long from Minnesota is watching us today. That's pretty exciting. We've gone national, Mayor.
Excellent, excellent. Well, just as a point of clarification, this is not a NIMBY issue, right? They're not complaining that there is a Publix being constructed because there's already a Publix essentially in their backyard. This specific case, a NIMBY means, I'm sure almost everyone out there knows NIMBY is not in my backyard. But this isn't a NIMBY case. This is just a, hey, don't put your stuff into my yard. Don't let your development negatively impact my property. We know it's developed. It's already developed. You're building a new Publix. We're going to shop there. Shopping is a pleasure there. But don't put a Saharan sandstorm into my backyard.
Okay, moving on.
Moving on.
Okay, good.
Don't even get me started on the 5,000 acre development.
I didn't.
This is an easy one. This is a Publix. I mean, a Publix like a 20-acre site, and you know the pad's only 46,000 square feet. Don't get me started on the big developments out west where people in the Minto developments, and they must feel like they're in sub-Saharan Africa.
Oh,
all right, I got it out. All right.
You did, boy.
Really bothers me. Really bothers me.
Maybe that. All right. Well, I do want to say that Fishing Frenzy and Golf Flyers, Catherine from my office, a shout out to Catherine and Luana that are always with us, posted those. So we appreciate it. I'm not seeing a lot of questions, oddly, today. Is that weird? Do people have questions from Facebook?
Well, if they don't have questions, that's okay. We could just tell all the mothers out there, Happy Mother's Day. Hope you have
that's exciting.
Hope you have a great weekend, and obviously we love you and appreciate you and wouldn't be here without you. So thank you, moms.
Yes. I do have a question about masks in public again. People ask this quite a bit. We had this with both Congressman Mast, with Representative Oberdorf, so now we'll hit all levels of government. People are asking, will there be a mandate for masks? And if there is, who's going to make that mandate?
All right, so masks, there is no mandate in the city, and even a lot of the places that do have mask orders, it's only recommended. There's no teeth to it. So the city's position is that we're recommending them. I, as the mayor in our form of government, do not have the unilateral authority. I can't do an order in our form of government. The city manager could, or the city council could. And then really, because this is a public health emergency in Florida, the county is the lead agency on the response. So the county administrator or the county commission could. I've made it known that I support mask wearing and that I would support a common sense order like they have in Palm Beach County, but that hasn't got any traction here at the city or the county level. So if anyone wanted to pursue that, I would encourage them, as I always do on any issue, whether you agree, disagree, or just trying to get more information, contact your city council members, or in this case, contact your county commissioners. Probably would be the best.
And that's also a good point, is that I think that if you're a private property, private business, that you can mandate. It's sort of like no shoes, no shirt, no service, no mask, no service. I don't want to encourage that, because I've seen that cause great conflict. So, but I would say common sense and just be courteous. Again, bringing it back to your point, Mayor, be courteous to your neighbors. And I think masks are somewhat expected at this point. We have a question from our old friend.
Can we go back to that for a second? So you had a great comment about the no shirt, no shoes, no service. And that's something that businesses can impose. And there's a great article in today's Tampa Bay Times about that very thing, because Fresh Market has imposed that rule. And so private businesses can absolutely put that rule into effect whenever they want. And they have a right as a private business to enforce those rules. Sadly, this can be a point of conflict. And I think that you saw that there was a dollar store up north where a conversation about wearing a mask led to someone coming back and killing somebody, killing the security guard who was trying to enforce the rule. So that's kind of human behavior at its worst right there. To your point, though, wearing a mask is courteous, though, because remember, this face covering right here that I'm wearing and that so many other people are wearing, this is to protect you, my neighbor. If we're at Publix together or we're at our grocery store or crowded area together, this mask is not to protect me. It's to protect you from my coughs or sneezing or my hot air, basically, right? I'm elected, so I've probably got plenty of hot air. This is to protect you from me. It doesn't protect me, the wearer, from you or anyone else around me. Someday, maybe there'll be enough supply for N95 respirators to be widely distributed. But right now, healthcare professionals are just getting resupplied. It's just first starting to get to our first responders. So everyday people and citizens, they don't really have access to N95. N95 respirators do protect the wearer, and that N95 comes from 95% of particulate matter being blocked if it's properly fitted. So that kind of mask, a respirator, does protect the wearer, but not these. To your point, this is being courteous to your neighbor.
It is. It's all about being nice to others. So others, it really is a common courtesy at this point, and I like to see common courtesies throughout society. So I am a proponent of wearing a mask, but I don't think anybody needs to die over masks. We do have a question from our good friend Karen Sweeney at Senator Harrell's office. I've so gotten used to representative over the years, but Senator Harrell's office.
I hear that.
Senator, and she wants to know about the playgrounds. Are the playgrounds open in the city?
The playgrounds are not yet open. I think we're working towards having the playgrounds reopen with phase 2. I think internally that's a goal. But one of the things that we struggle with on the playgrounds is that they're high-touch surfaces by definition. And they cater to children who aren't the best at social distancing on their own. You have high-touch surfaces. How do you keep them clean? And then while we all think there's some wisdom and common sense to the idea and scientific evidence that UV breaks down, ultraviolet light breaks down the coronavirus, what happens when you're in a tube or you're underneath or the little dark place on the side of the slide? So for those reasons, we're still figuring that out because you can't clean it after every child, right? That's not feasible. So we're working on that one. And honestly, another tough one is dog parks because the dogs are pretty social. And the CDC guidance on dogs is to treat them just like a person when it comes to COVID-19. So that's another one of those challenges. But we have opened up, obviously, our parks were never really closed for passive recreation. We've opened up pavilions. We've opened up outdoor racket sports courts. And the boat ramps are obviously reopened. So we've tried to open as much as we can, and we could safely. I can't wait till the gyms are open, but those are still shut down as well.
Yes.
While we have Karen on there, see, I like to give Karen tough questions, and she likes to give me tough questions. So ask Karen to type up a little update for us on reemployment assistance.
Okay, well, I think you just did because she's watching. We have another question because I had a delay on trying to catch up on the questions. Summer camps, there's been a lot of coverage on the news about camps and summer camps, and they're wondering specifically about the Civic Center summer camps and your thoughts on summer camps opening in general.
So summer camps, I think at 11 o'clock or so, we have a press tour for the Mid-Florida Credit Union Event Center's summer camp with the Boys and Girls Club, because the way we have it partitioned off and the rules that have been put in place are pretty special. And so every precaution is being taken to run this camp safely and effectively, and still a ton of fun for all the kids involved. So I would say, let me give you my broad, big picture view. I want the city and our partners to provide as many services as we can safely, just as I want society and the world as we know it to operate to the fullest extent it can safely. I think that choosing one thing over another thing, in this case, choosing safety over society and the economy, that's a false construct. So we really want to have as much safety and operating economy and operating society as we can. I don't think that you can have a safe society without a properly functioning economy and society. I don't think you can have a properly functioning economy and society without public health and safety. So I think they go together, and we want to maximize them as we slowly, I don't call it a switch, flipping a switch, I think of it as a dimmer switch. As we bring up the lights on our economy and society, we're bringing it up to measure safety at the same time. And relatively speaking, I mean, I think it's always important for us to acknowledge the loss of life and all the Americans and Floridians we've lost along the way, and to always remember them and to send our deepest condolences to the loved ones who are grieving. But we expected it to be worse. We're still trending in a good direction here in Florida, and I think St. Lucie County. And we definitely have the healthcare capacity to try bringing that dimmer switch up. And it's important we do so because maybe up to 20% of people are out of work. But going back to summer camp specifically, you know, Boys and Girls Club right now, they're operating for essential workers. So the grocery store is never closed. The police and fire never closed. Obviously the hospitals, the doctors, nurses, they never stopped working. Those children always needed some place to go, right? And so childcare and summer camps and for essential workers, they were always essential, remained open. And now that we're in phase one, not only I think will you see the Boys and Girls Club summer camp, I think you'll see the city summer camp, but you'll see it operating in a new way where the kids are in groups of 10, you have screening and you have cleaning.
I think it's going to operate differently. That reminds me of a program that we're also doing with the Children's Services Council with Sean. And that is the Summer Passport Program. We did it last year where we took kids in summer camps and we took them on excursions. Some of them had never been to the beach. Some of them didn't have swimming suits. They went kayaking, they went sailing, they went to the Navy SEAL Museum, the History Museum. We're expanding on that this year for a few reasons. One, I'd like to include our small businesses in some way if we can, because they definitely need to make up some revenue. And this is an opportunity to do that. And also because we believe we're going to have to adhere to continued CDC guidelines of probably 10, maybe a little more in a group. So we need more activities for these kids to do. So we've expanded. Any business can put together a summer camp from 2 to 6 hours. So if you're an electrical company, can you put together a kid-friendly electrical lessons where they can come out, do some interactive stuff? They'll have a chaperone from the camp for 10 or more, and will pay you to conduct that camp. I mean, the win here is for everybody. Kids will be exposed to new potential careers. Our small businesses will make a little extra money after the shutdown, and will provide things for these kids to be able to do, helping out summer camps be able to stay operating while keeping kids socially distanced. So I'm asking all of my members, please try to put something together. Think out of the box. You all can do it, and I'd like to see that. But manufacturing would be great. We'd love to have some manufacturing places for them to go. So they're excursions or activities, not a full day of camp. I want people to understand that.
Yeah, that sounds outstanding. And on the electricity, let's just make sure it's low voltage.
Well, yeah, I mean, I said kid friendly. That would include up to not shocking them.
There's great battery experiments out there that I still remember doing as a kid that are a lot of fun and introduce kids to science, engineering.
Yep.
So that sounds outstanding. Good job on that. You know, you mentioned different size groups, and you're really alluding to different phases. So right now we're in phase 1 of the governor's safe, smart, step-by-step recovery plan for Florida, and it correlates to the federal guidelines for opening up America again, and it contemplates 3 phases. And in phase 2, you could get up to 50 people. So right now we're at 10, no more than 10. If you get to phase 2, it might go up to 50, and then you can have maybe a higher occupancy in restaurants, and you get some of the things that are still closed open again. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Unfortunately, our most vulnerable, which we define as our elderly and our immunocompromised, they are kind of locked down and in isolation for the duration of the pandemic, because it's just, it can be so deadly for the quote unquote vulnerable. So one of the things the city has done, as other communities have done, and our council, Councilwoman Carballo, the vice mayor, and the whole council were very supportive of the call from City Hall. So we are reaching out and making phone calls and just checking in and socializing via the phone, Zoom, and Microsoft Teams with our seniors and immunocompromised. If they're stuck at home or assisted living facility, we are reaching out. And that has started. I had a great conversation with my buddy out in Brennedy yesterday via Zoom, and it was great. I'm going to try to figure out how to play some Zoom Scrabble or Zoom chess. But we encourage people, if they want to nominate someone who could use a call from City Hall, to please let us know. Or if you want to join and man the phones, if you will, we'd love to have you also calling. And is there a call-in number, Sarah? For call from City Hall, or should they just call my office at 772-871-5159? That'll work. So if you want to nominate someone to receive a call, or you want to be part of calling out, please contact the council office at 871-5159. Of course, area code 772.
Okay, this one popped up in the thread quite a bit. The World War II 75th anniversary is coming up, and people are wondering, will there be some sort of acknowledgement, remembrance for that?
Well, I think today is actually VE Day, Victory in Europe Day. I think that's the 75th anniversary. So it's my understanding right now, I'll have to get back with you, it's my understanding right now that Memorial Day has already been bumped. Sarah is whispering to me. I don't know what she's saying though. It's still being worked on?
No, the actual ceremony, the live ceremony is being bumped, but we are working with Parks and Rec and the veterans groups to put together some sort of memorial via television. So the details are still being worked out right now. I'm not sure how that's going to look, but we'll have something on our Facebook page and on TV 20 to recognize Memorial Day this year, working with our local veterans groups. Just not sure what it's going to look like at this moment.
So, Trista, if there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And, this is an evolving, dynamic event where we don't know exactly what the conditions are going to be 1 month from now. But we could definitely, we're a hometown for heroes. We definitely want to recognize our veterans, and obviously that's a huge day in our history, just as today is with Victory in Europe Day. So we're definitely up for collaborating and coordinating with our veterans group and our community. And depending on the circumstances, it might have to be a virtual celebration versus getting together physically at Veterans Park.
Nothing we do is going to underplay the importance of that event. So it's unfortunate, but I know that we'll figure something out. You'll figure something out. I wanted to let you know Karen Sweeney said she is up to the task and she is going to work on what you asked for from Senator Harrell's office. I have a question about somebody who says there's golfing signs posted on Cambridge Drive. None of the neighbors want this. I'm not sure what they are. They certainly are not ours. We have no golfing signs
No,
up.
I know what that is. So, well, one, let me thank Karen Sweeney because she's been working hard the whole time and really has been a great resource, and she's an incredible credit to Senator Harrell. So we're glad and happy to have Karen Sweeney working for the people of our community and the people of Port St. Lucie in particular. So thank you, Karen. We appreciate all your help. And we know that the legislature just has an oversight function on the administration on reemployment. And we just want to get as many checks out there to the people that are, and I don't like to use the word entitled, but in this case, they're entitled, they qualify for reemployment assistance. So we got to get through that backlog because it's been a long time for people. And maybe rent is okay because you can't be evicted, but you still have to feed your family. And so real quick, we talked about rental assistance. I hear that SNAP is working much better than reemployment. And SNAP, some of us might think of SNAP as food stamps, but it's the Nutrition Assistance Program. Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. So that works. And if you don't want to go through the Department of Children and Families or Karen's very busy working on reemployment, you could go to stophunger.org. That's Treasure Coast Food Bank, stophunger.org. And they have an intake system for SNAP right on their site. And they have amazing resources. And it's a good opportunity to give a shout out to Judy and all the hardworking people at Treasure Coast Food Bank and all the generous donors and supporters. We were able to have an incredible mobile food pantry giveaway at the event center. I think we filled the trunks of 683 cars with groceries that included meat and fresh produce. And so we did that in the morning. And thanks to Treasure Coast Food Bank, some generous donors, Christ Fellowship Church, Family Church, and of course, some hardworking team members of Port St. Lucie staff here. Additionally, we did some testing last week. So that was another one. I don't know exactly, we did 1,000+ tests, thanks to St. Lucie County. And also, I want to say that the corporate name is the Treasure Coast Medical Associates? Treasure Coast Medical Associates, Incorporated. Inc. And that's our clinic provider, Dr. Adelberg. So that's really going to increase our testing numbers and was much needed. And I hope that our community and our county will help us continue to provide that service for the duration of the pandemic. It's not just a one-time thing. So big picture, now we can get to these golfing signs because this is the latest example of there are no small issues in local government. So Wilderness Park is a passive park, used to be a 9-hole golf course that was associated with the Sinners and the Saints. So if you know Club Med, if you know the Saints golf course, which is now owned by the city, they used to be together. That's why they're called the Sinners and the Saints. And there was 9 holes on what is now called Wilderness Park. Wilderness Park is bounded by Westmoreland, Morningside, and Cambridge. And it's just a great passive neighborhood park. People walk their dogs. They play catch, they go fishing, and sometimes they hit golf balls. And recently, some no golfing signs went up, much to the dismay of at least 3 of the neighbors in the neighborhood. And so they're wondering what happened, and our office is responding. We don't know because we don't put up signs directly in the council office. We reached out to the city manager to give us an account of what happened. And it looks like Parks and Rec staff put the signs up after a lady complained about a conflict between someone hitting golf balls and people walking their dogs. And that's the issue. And there's also the issue of there's a lot of signs in that park. So is it sign pollution or not? So who gave us that one? I'll try to follow up.
Her name is Karen Williams.
So.
Okay, so he's going to follow up with you. There's another question here. Will we ever stop developing land? I have an answer to that, but I will let you go first.
Oh, let me hear your answer. This will be interesting.
Well, the reality is open land that is privately owned has the right to be developed. It's really just sort of the long and the short of it.
All right, let's see here. I'm going to bring up a map real quick here.
Privately owned open land. So that's all I'm saying.
All right, can we, guys, can we bring up my laptop real quick?
While they're doing that, when they get that together so we can address that, we talked about rental assistance, and Sarah's going to put the number in for that. So that will answer that question. I'm trying to catch up on the questions. I'm not very far down.
All right, well, I got the map up, Trissa, and here's the Atlantic Ocean, here's the Indian River Lagoon, here's the Savannas, here's the US 1 corridor, here's the Turnpike corridor, here's I-95, here's Tradition and what we call the Southwest Annexation area building out. This lake out here, that's at McCarty Ranch. That's our McCarty Ranch property. All right, so you got Glades Cutoff that comes down to Range Line. This line right here, that is where the western edge of the city is. And that is the edge of entitled development. And what does that mean? That means everything within this box has a legal right to develop. And so even if the people of Port St. Lucie said, Greg, City Council, we want to stop development. These wild areas is what makes Florida, Florida. We don't want to see any more development. Everything within that area, within those borders, has a legal right and cannot be stopped. And so there are about 55,000 units. Some of those have been developed now, but there are additional 55,000 households coming to Port St. Lucie west of I-95. And that's legally entitled. And the pace of development will be dictated by the market forces, not by anything that the city council can do. And that is the reality of the situation. So if you're talking about an area within those borders, it's going to continue until it's built out. And then so if you love nature like I do, if you're a native Floridian, and one of the things that you love about Port St. Lucie is it still has what makes Florida, Florida, then it's really important for us to work through our land acquisition and preservation program. It's really important for us to work on our parks program. It's very important to work on our greenways and trails program and link those different green areas and those different natural areas, create wildlife corridors. And I think it really serves everyone well and actually helps to create property value and differentiates the city from other places. But that development's going to continue within those borders.
And that's just the law, realistically. So, you know, I don't know what else you can do about it. I think
playing devil's advocate, Trissa, playing devil's advocate, the only thing that you could do about it would be to take the property. And you'd have to have a public purpose to take it, and you'd have to pay for it. And so,
yeah.
So that's obviously not realistic.
All right, you lost me on video, I hear, and it's because I had a phone call that it just took over my phone. So let's see if I can get back in.
Well, maybe we could just bring our show to a rousing close here.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us by Zoom. Thank you for working through the technological difficulties to be here, for adapting, improvising, and overcoming. And just want to thank again all the moms out there and tell them we love them and happy Mother's Day.
I do as well. You can't see me to do that, but I'm smiling greatly for all the moms out there. I apologize for the technical difficulties, but thank you so much, Mayor. And I know, as you always do, you'll go through those Facebook comments and make sure you reach out to everyone that's requesting additional information. You're so good about that. And I appreciate that as well. I go through them, but most of the questions are for you. So it's pretty easy for me.
Well, thank you. And just as, because, you know, I am a little OCD also,
Yes, you are.
I generally don't go through the city's Facebook page because that's the official voice of the institution. And I don't want to accidentally see anything that the other council members might be saying. I don't want to get into a policy discussion, have Facebook be a conduit. So there, our award-winning communications department does follow up. And in fact, they've recently hired a social media coordinator. So hopefully we're going to be even upping our game on the social media front. But if it is to my Facebook page, my mayoral Facebook page, I do respond to every post and every comment. I appreciate everyone's input.
I think you have video of me now. I switched to another camera. We'll see how it goes. But I want to thank Mid-Florida Credit Union and your staff for putting up with this technical nightmare that is me trying to Zoom. And thank you to you for being always so candid and open. And I do hope I will see you soon. I don't know when that will be, but I'm sure it will be soon. Well, maybe coffee at a distance,
hopefully it'll be
lunch
next
at a
month.
distance.
I do miss you. And I love that we're on Facebook Live, and we absolutely will continue that. But I do miss our studio audience also. It's not the same thing doing a show without the energy of the audience.
Yeah, I agree with you. I miss the audience. I miss my audience regulars. So, all right, everybody. Well, thank you for joining us both on Facebook, and we appreciate it. We appreciate your questions, and we appreciate the interaction. So have a great day. Remember, next month we'll be here again. We'll be doing all of our talk shows on Facebook Live, so you can check out a full schedule at stluciechamber.org. Till next time, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you, Trissa, and thank you to the greatest generation for giving us victory in Europe 75 years ago today. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.